It's only by making the fundamentals of life easier that you can create the mental space needed for free thinking and creativity. Habits. They rule our lives. I'm Krista. I'm a mom of 2, very soon to be 3. I love journaling, all things journaling, especially bullet journaling. And I've been so interested in habits lately. I just read you a quote from James Clear's Atomic Habits, which I've been reading. Habits have just been on my mind the past few months. I have notes on habits and making this video from back in June. So I've been experimenting and playing. And of course, when I started bullet journaling, a habit tracker was like a huge enticement to me to start my bullet journal. So today we're going to go over habits that I try and do as a stay-at-home / work from home on my own business mom, plus how I use or don't use my bullet journal to track those habits. So let's get into it. So that quote meant everything to me because truly, like, the reason that I think habits are important and the reason that I bullet journal is to clear my head, give me mental clarity, mental space, so that I can create. I love creating. I'm in the middle of a really fun creative craft thing right now, so it's a little bit of a mess behind me, but that's the reason that I care about bullet journaling and habits, is because I want to be able to create, and I want you to be able to create too. I want all of us to be able to create in some capacity. Let's talk about something that James Clear disclaimed / talked about in the first chapter of his book. He talked about how he's going to give a lot of strategies throughout the book, which he does, but the main thing that will help you with your habit is to change your identity. So you have to identify as someone who's healthy if you want to be eating healthy. You have to identify as a reader if you want to be someone who reads. So, for example, lately, I gain a lot of weight when I'm pregnant. Okay, there you go. That was just an identity that I said, which probably isn't true and maybe necessarily doesn't have to be true, but I do. And I already have gained a lot of weight while I'm pregnant. However, something that I've noticed is I like to eat when I'm pregnant. I don't really get sick. I naturally just want to eat probably more frequent than usually. And so something that has made me not feel great is I'll also just snack on what my kids are eating. So if my kids are eating junk, then I'm eating junk. So a new identity shift that I've been trying to do is say, me and my kids eat healthy and nutritious foods. And honestly, that has shifted how I'm feeding them, how I'm viewing what they eat, how I'm viewing what I eat. Because if they're eating something crappy and I start eating it, then I'm oh yeah, I messed that up. But just saying to myself, yeah, we eat healthy foods, then we're gonna switch it up. So okay, 1, start with who you want to be is the main thing in life, I think. That's a whole other topic in and of itself, but identify who you want to be. That's the first step. Let me talk real quick about why I think habit trackers and bullet journaling kind of messed up my view of habits. So I do think that when I started bullet journaling, one of the bullet journal spreads or pages that I was most excited to set up were habit trackers, and they're really cute and fun to put in your bullet journal. So no shame and so fun. Actually, the first spread that I have had in all my bullet journals is a reading tracker. Most habit trackers people would do monthly, so you're trying to do it every single day of the month, or yearly. You can even do one yearly, which I have done one before. I'll put a couple of the pictures up of some of the habit trackers I've done while I'm talking about this. But so I've definitely done habit trackers in the past in my bullet journal. Now, the reason I feel this messed up my view on habits is because I just started thinking about habits as a daily habit. So going on a walk, that was one of my habits from a couple years ago, and I did it over the year because I just knew that whole year I'd want to be going on walks. Or at least I thought that the whole year I'd want to be going on walks. Usually you set up a habit tracker at the beginning of the month and you're trying to do it daily. Lately, especially as a mom of 2, growing family, soon to be 3, I have decided that habits aren't necessarily just a daily action. I'm gonna break my habits into daily actions and weekly actions. So we'll talk about that in just a second. I'll share with you 2 daily habits as a mom and 1 as a mom / business owner that I have been really trying to do and I think have made a huge difference in my life. So the first habit. I told you I gained a lot of weight when I'm pregnant, which is true, but I also was able to like lose most of it after my second pregnancy, and then I got pregnant again, so I'm back to gaining my weight. But I honestly attribute the losing the weight to one of the habits I formed, which was to drink water and eat fruit first thing in the morning when I wake up. And that has been huge. I've like tried to stick with that since having my second, because it just feels so good to me to put water and fruit in my body before I put anything like processed. Not that I eat a ton of processed food, but like if I am gonna eat cereal, like let's just try and eat, well, my kids love cereal, so like I'm kind of eating that with them, right? Because like I said, I kind of eat what my kids eat. Fruit and water, getting that in my body first just feels like so good and like such a gift to my body. So that has been a huge habit. It hasn't made a huge difference in the weight gain with this pregnancy. I've gained a little less than last time, but whatever. It's the first habit that like has made me feel really good. Second habit that like is a daily habit, or I'm working on it. It's like I'm not as good as it. I'm pretty good at like the water and fruit one. Like I do that like 80% of the time, which I feel like is like really good. This is like maybe 70% of the time I am cleaning my kitchen every day. I have gotten way better at it. Before I moved to this house, we were living with parents, so like, and I had like 2 babies and like I was a mess. So I was like never really cleaning the kitchen. So when we moved to this house, it's like, oh my gosh, I had to like I had to learn how to take care of a house. And so cleaning the kitchen, I feel like makes the house so much cleaner. And I've gotten way better at that habit. But I will say this, James Clear talks about habits being like, I'm going to do this habit at this time at this place. So like my first habit, like drinking water, eating fruit, is super good because I like have that down. Like I'm going to get some water, get some fruit, sit at my table when I wake up and feed my kids and eat my fruit. And so I do that. But the cleaning the kitchen one is a little bit more ambiguous, especially as a mom, because my days are not always the same after that point. As soon as we eat breakfast, who knows what we're going to be doing during the day. And so cleaning the kitchen, I've tried to like put my kitchen to bed. That's a huge thing people say. Doesn't really work for me. I've tried to do it when my husband gets home from work, which he gets home from work at like 10 a.m., which is kind of random, I know. And like that kind of works. So I kind of have these ones a couple of times a day where I can do dishes. Or in the morning when my kids are eating breakfast after I've eaten a little bit. So there's a couple of times. So this habit isn't as great because it's not like as specific as the other one. However, something that has helped, and this is kind of the habit that I would associate with cleaning the kitchen, goes back to kind of that identity thing. When we are done with a mess, me and my kids, we clean that up before moving on to the next one. So that has really helped, because the other day I just learned that like I'm not a messy person. I'm not really a messy person, but I have 2 kids, one's 2.5, almost 3, and one's 1, a little over 1, who don't really clean up. I mean, they can kind of, and they kind of do help me, and I try and teach them to, of course, but like, they're literal babies. So I'm not the messy one. I'm not the problem. They make messes wherever they go, which is great and fun and good for them. So just me being in charge of like, okay, we're going to clean up our breakfast before we go play with toys and make a zoo or whatever we're going to do. So that has helped me, and that has helped clear the brain space for me to be like, okay, kitchen time is now, because there's just not so many messes that I have to clean up. So those are 2 habits: cleaning my kitchen every day, which I try and do not at a super specific time, but like at one of those 3 times, eating healthy and fruit in the morning. And the third habit that I'll say as like a business owner / like stay-at-home mom is I've gotten really good at posting on my social media. The bar for myself is, I don't know, not like low, but like I try and post 2 to 3 posts a week, and that's sufficient and enough for me. And I try and post on my stories most of the days. And a habit that has helped me to do that is before I go to bed, I will, if I have like a long post or a lot of thoughts, I'll type it out in an email to myself, and then I post it the next day. So then I'm not like trying to think of my caption, trying to think of my post all day. It's like, no, I've already thought of it, and then posting is pretty easy. So, and I feel like all those habits combined have made a huge difference. Like my house feels cleaner, I feel healthier because of those other 2 habits. I feel like my business moves forward when I post and put my thoughts and things out there. So, okay, let's get into the next part, because YouTube, right? That's one of the habits that I've been working on. So the other side of habits I want to talk about is weekly habits. So like I said, I had this misconception with bullet journaling that habits were just like a daily thing you tried to do because I was tracking habits daily. However, I have learned as a mom, and most mothers probably already know this, I'm a newer mom, but it's really nice to have like certain days where I do certain things. So like cleaning the house wise, literally last week I decided I'm going to do my laundry on Thursday. And that was so nice because I wasn't like, oh, when am I going to do laundry? Oh, I'm going to run out of things to wear. Oh, like maybe I should do it today. That's normally just like how my brain is that like I kind of just wait till Saturday because it's like I'm out of clothes. So this week I was like, my mind was put at ease. I had more mental space because I knew Thursday I'm gonna just like wake up and like at some point in the morning I'm gonna run my laundry. And I did, and it was awesome. So like that's an example of like a weekly habit that I'm trying to do. Other weekly habits that work for me is I enjoy working on my business Monday through Thursday. Like I know I would love like an hour or 2 at least a day to like work on bullet journaling stuff and like move my business forward, I guess. And like Friday, I don't really care if I do or don't do that. If I do, then that's great. But like I've also decided like, this is my business. I can do whatever I want. I don't really care to like put pressure on myself to do it. And then Saturday too, I've been trying to take off. However, what I've learned is that I'm actually really good at recording videos on Saturday, like afternoon. So that's what I've been doing. And last weekend was our anniversary, so I didn't do it last weekend, but I have gotten into the habit of recording videos on Saturday, and it just works out really well. And it doesn't actually really feel like work to me. Although I would say this is like probably a good part of my business and work and creative side of things, but it just feels fun to me. And so it works out that I do it. And that has cleared so much mental space because I had a goal at the beginning of the year to post one YouTube video a week, which I have not put that pressure on myself because I was pregnant. As soon as the year started, I was like, okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it every week, but like that's always been kind of the goal because I just really enjoy making YouTube videos. But this has just like cleared up brain space because like kind of almost like every night before bed, if like my kids were asleep and my husband was asleep, I'd be like, ooh, should I record a video right now? Because what I used to do is like record it when they were like asleep. But now it's usually during their nap time on Saturday that I record it. And it just feels so good because then that clears up the rest of the week where I can go watch a show with my husband in bed and not feel like, oh, I should be recording a YouTube video right now because that's what I want to do. So I have designated weekly and daily habits. Last thing I want to mention is that I don't really use my bullet journal to track habits anymore. And here's why. I am a growing and changing human, and I have very like fast growing and changing kids that are a huge part of my life. So my life changes often. So like honestly, even as I was talking about the drinking water, eating fruit, like that really resonated with me postpartum. But now that I'm in my 3rd trimester, I'm just like, I really like that. It feels good to me, but it's not even like as like defined as it was before. So I will say this, I think as if you are a woman, and then you should listen to your body when it comes to your habits. So for example, I've gotten really in tune with my like pregnancy cycle because I just have had basically 3 back-to-back pregnancies. Most people, you could compare this to like your menstrual cycle. If you're like really understand your energy during your menstrual cycle, lean into that. So like for example, in the 1st trimester of my pregnancies, I am super, super tired, like exhausted, and like can't do anything. Like cleaning the kitchen, I did once a week maybe because I was just like too exhausted to do anything. So I know that, and I'm not gonna like put that on myself to clean the kitchen every single day because I'm so tired. However, 2nd trimester rolls around and I am like literally superwoman. I honestly feel like my best self during 2nd trimester. So I am like go, get things done. And now we're in my 3rd trimester where I totally feel my energy shift. It's like rest is very important to me, and like, I don't know, rest, doing nothing, which is actually really hard for me as a person to do. I like to do things. I don't like to do nothing. But knowing that like in the 3rd trimester, it's okay and good for me. Oh my gosh, I remember when I was pregnant with Celine, my first, I was working full time, not on my business. I was a high school math teacher. And I just remember like day after day being like, I really wish I could just like not be working. I was like saving my time off for when I had my baby, but I was just like, if I could take off during this trimester, I would. So like that's a blessing for me, and like running my own business is I can like not work if I don't want to, and that's fine with me. So anyways, listening to your body during your pregnancy or your hormone/menstrual cycle is huge, and like give yourself grace in your habits that way. A monthly habit tracker kind of like doesn't really resonate with me because your mood could change within the month. Maybe we need to do a mood tracker in my bullet journal, which I've never really done before, but I have a video on this, but like I do every pregnancy track how I feel during my first, second, and third trimester. And so I just noticed these things. I know this about my body. And so after this pregnancy, I want to get better at noticing my like menstrual cycle and how my like habits ebb and flow during that. The other thing with that is I am a mom, right? And I was talking about like my kids, how they affect how my habits, how I do my habits, the seasons can affect. But like I also think if you're like a full-time worker, so like, you know, yeah, you could compare like being a full-time mom to like working full-time, because when I was working full-time, it's like you can't really set up super ideal habits. Like if you didn't have any work to do ever, then like, yeah, you could probably be like, I'm gonna do this habit at this time and blah blah blah, it's perfect. You gotta adjust your habits to whatever sort of life schedule you're on, whether you're a work from home, stay-at-home mom, or you're a full-time worker. You gotta make your habits work with your schedule. Give yourself grace, listen to like your body and what feels right, and like allow yourself to just like be good or bad at habits. Oh, this is what it leads perfectly to the quote that I was going to read from James Clear, Atomic Habits. Read this if you want to learn about habits. A habit is a behavior that has been repeated enough times to become automatic. The process of habit formation begins with trial and error. Then that's it. That's my quote. If you want to form a habit, you have to be willing to try and fail. It's truly what I like go at each day of my life as just like a big experiment. Is this working? Yes, great. And honestly, it could work for a week and then we switch it up. Probably a few weeks ago, I like posted an office refresh and I've already like changed things up. And I just like don't even feel like that's bad, because we're growing, changing humans. So let's grow and change with ourselves. I have growing and changing little ones, and so our house and needs change constantly, and I just think it's fun. Like I don't really like doing the same thing over and over. I have so many fun ideas for more videos for you guys coming up. I hope you enjoyed this habit video. I am going to post some of my habit tracker spreads on my website, so I'm going to link that in the description box. If you want to purchase some of my habit trackers digitally and print them and put them in your bullet journal, or get inspired by them and put them in your bullet journal, great. Just know that I don't really use habit trackers right now. I listen to my body, and if it feels right, I'll do a habit tracker. If it doesn't, then I don't. Oh my gosh, so many fun things coming up. Stay tuned. Please subscribe. Let's get into some really fun bullet journaling the rest of this year. It's going to be good. Stay tuned. Follow me on Instagram if you have not, and connect with me there. Check out my website. I will link all these things. I'll link a couple other videos that have to do with habit tracking and bullet journaling if you're interested in those topics in the description box. So check those out. See you next time. Bye-bye.